right. So as we just introduced him, he is fresh off of a Chili Bowl weekend in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He not only got to do the laps on the cool little track that they have there every year, but also got roasted on Twitter. All sorts of cool things from this guy. I've done all sorts of things on multiple different kinds of race cars and multiple different kinds of racetracks. So without further ado, on the other side of the Zoom call is Jeff Champagne. What's up, man?
What's going on, boys? How's it going?
Oh, it's all right. So, for those that don't know, I mean, we've heard of you, obviously. You have some BFP merch. We've gotten to watch you at certain places like Waterford and on the Chili Bowl too. So, where did this all start from, man? Like, who the fuck is Jeff Champagne?
Honestly, I wonder the same thing sometimes too. This whole thing, I guess just going back a little bit, I guess we'll just start at square one. Just begged my parents for a go-kart back in 2008. That's how it started, and here we are. This past Chili Bowl didn't go how I thought it would. I thought we'd have a shot at making our prelim, which we did. But like I said in my interview that took over the internet, I stepped on my nuts a little bit in that heat race.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second, because I don't know that as many people before that interview knew who you were, but you definitely popped off. Like, where did that all come from? Because that's some shit that we would say if we were given a live mic on a television.
To be honest, and it might break some people's hearts, I didn't know I could be like that. I didn't know I had that in me. I'm normally the very mellow guy who I do have a short temper, but I'm normally very mellow, and I tend to know when the camera's on me. But that's the first time I've had a camera on me when I'm hot, and I just said what I said, and in my car owner, Mark Daly, he was pissed. He's like, "You idiot." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You just said dick, nuts, and like pussy and shit within like 30 seconds. I'm like, "Oh, geez."
Realize it?
I'm like, "You know what? I did." He's like, and you drove up into the guy pretty much. I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I kind of did." And they're the one interviewing me, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of the situation, I guess. And then Joe Scanlon shared that shit on Facebook, and then it got like 10,000 views.
Dude, at what point did it go from you were like, "Oh shit, I just fucked up," to "Oh shit, I'm blowing up on social media"? Like a pretty quick turnaround, because like NASCAR Chasm and everything had you on there.
I have like a rule where I don't check my phone on my qualifying night, because I made an arrangement with my job to where I would work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, part of Thursday. Thursday half day I would focus on how the track's changing, see what's going on. That way I could see have some knowledge going into Friday. And Friday I don't look at my phone. That's my rule. I don't look at my phone. But somebody said, some random passerby was like, "Yo, look at this." I'm like, "Geez." And then I go and check my phone. It's like, it's like 50 plus followers on Twitter, like 5 people adding me on Snapchat, 100 Facebook requests. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I see what's going on, and wild, literally trending on Twitter. If we couldn't be in the show, we were going to be the show. And I think we were the show that night. We were the only ones to attempt to fight legally.
Yeah, what a wild rule that they straight up say, like, if you're gonna do it, just do it on the racetrack in front of the fans.
NHL rules. They came out and said that it's going to be NHL rules. They will let you fight on the track until there's someone is disadvantaged, either on the ground or outnumbered. So as long as you're both standing up, you fight.
That's a true promoter there for sure, man. But you're also leaving out the fact that you blew up on Twitter not once, but twice over the weekend. So let's talk about the second one here, because the pretty prolific dirt racer in the country, and Nick Hoffman snipes a picture of you in the stands
with the top row crowds. I will say, unashamed, with a dude holding a sex doll wrapped around his neck. For those who don't know about the Chili Bowl, the top row rowds are a rowdy group of fans that there is drinking involved. There is a lot of marshmallow throwing, dildo throwing, and inflatable penis throwing. There was a 5-foot long dick that made its way from one end of the grandstand all the way to the other. I look up who has it next. Kyle Larson. He throws it down at some dude. That dude's like, "Stop throwing it at me." So what do? More inflatable dicks are flying down at this guy. and marshmallows are flying down at this guy. It was awesome. Awesome. So that's literally what the top row rounds are. But yes, I got out of my car, bummed out because, I guess recap, heat race didn't go how we thought it would. We end up in a C main. And from the C main, we start 16th in the B and finish 8th. They only took 4. I'm out of the show. I didn't make the A. And so now I'm in my fire suit. The A is rolling off. I have 2 choices. I can either take my fire suit off and miss part of the feature, or I can leave my fire suit on, go see the feature, and then after the feature, leave it on and be able to cut the bathroom line. Because Bobby, you weren't here when I said this, but you have unlimited bathroom line cutting abilities when you have a fire suit on at the expo center. So that think about it. You have like 10,000 fans there, and then there's a caution. Everybody runs to the bathrooms. But if you got a fire suit on, you just stroll right on in like you never even saw the line. So that's what I did. And it did come back to bite me. Nick Hoffman caught me slacking with the dude with the sex dolls, part of the back row posers. And the dude next to me literally said, "Yo, that's you on Twitter." And I go, "Who is it?" He goes, "Nick Hoffman." I just turned around, went up to Nick Hoffman like that. And he's like,
Well, I'll be the first one to issue you an apology because I'm the guy that clowns on people who wear their fire suits too long.
"That was you last week in the episode?"
Oh yeah, 100%. We got a good.
God damn! Like,
I even quote tweeted it. It was like, "Oh, Jeff, no, man, come on." But I'll apologize because the bathroom cutting, I'd wear my fucking fire suit all week. If we were racing on Wednesday, I'd be wearing it on Thursday and Tuesday and Monday because I ain't fucking standing in line for the pissers. So I'll give you credit for that one.
I didn't race till Friday, and there was one time Wednesday night I was at the track. I threw that. I'm no shame. Threw that thing on, cut the bathroom line, took a nice fat heater.
Do not blame you 100%. I would do the same thing. So I apologize for clowning on you. You got me.
Tricky not to let your fire suit touch the ground there, and I'm pretty sure COVID and AIDS have originated at those bathrooms. They're the most disgusting, decrepit things in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's pretty gross.
So other than the nasty shitters, I mean, this is an indoor facility. For those that don't know, the Chili Bowl, it's entirely indoors, and the Expo Center apparently is like one of the nation's largest fucking buildings. So tell us about that experience, man, because there's a zillion race cars there. There's 10,000 plus fans, let alone drivers, crews, all that stuff in the pit area. So, tell us about that experience. Like, what is that like walking in there? I think that's something that the 3 of us have never done. So, if that's something we want to do in the future, what do we have to look forward to?
It is literally, I started my Chili Bowl tenure as a crew guy, just asked by Kenny Johnson Motorsports, "Do you want to come out and crew?" And I'm like, "Sure." Now, the size of the building wasn't as big as I thought it was, but the way they packed those trailers in and the amount of people in there, and then you walk to the other end of the building and you see this glorious Oklahoma clay 6-mile racetrack just sitting there. You're like, this is, then it starts to sink in. You're like, oh my God, this is the Mecca. Like, this is, take away the Indy 500. It's what it is because it's the Indy 500. It's, the biggest race in the world. But the Chili Bowl, I believe, is the best racing in the world. I mean, you got 6 nights in a row of racing now, with the best names in motorsports, and they're all right there at your fingertips. You don't need a garage pass. You just buy a pit pass, and they serve beer in the pits.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm into that 100%.
Drinks in the pits. So you got that. You got, just a vibe of, the best part going for it is that it's not a points race. So everybody is there to race, and then the nights they're not racing, it's just a party. It is literally the most electric atmosphere you can have, combined with the announcers and the way they run shows out there. It's hard to explain in words unless you go there. It's just such an amazing time. I've never seen anyone unhappy that they went to Chili Bowl.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's something that would really piss anybody off to just have to be there. But leading up to this, though, you briefly touched on it before. You begged your parents for a go-kart at 8 years old, right? So where does that originate from? Why? Like, what made you want to get involved in motorsports to begin with?
My dad always watched Formula One. Big Michael Schumacher fan, big Mark Martin fan, and a big road racing fan. And so from like the time I was 1, there's pictures of me just glued to the TV with my dad watching races. And he never raced, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, he never raced. And just always watch the races, just everything racing. Like it would be like the Rolex 24. I'd have the printouts, just looking at the driver stats, doing all the nerdy stuff we all did as a kid watching the races. And I was just begged because I grew up from Whip City Speedway is 5 minutes from my house, or was, I live in Westfield. So it was a no-brainer to start racing there. And then we did that. And I'd say probably from the time I started racing to the next big milestone was probably racing midgets at Bear Ridge in 2012. That's where kind of things started. The ball started to roll. We grew up racing Whip City, Stafford on the Monday nights, racing against all the guys you see on Friday nights there now, Williams, Christopher, Ferns, all those guys. And then the ball started to roll kind of when I got in touch with Frank Manafort at Bear Ridge. One of his drivers in 2013, I was like 16 at the time, couldn't make it to the track it was Canaan Fair Speedway on the dirt. His guy couldn't make it. And he called Ray Miller, who called my dad, who called me at summer camp and came to pick me up early that I needed to come and drive that guy's car because his driver couldn't make it. So we started like 13th and finished 5th that night. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling, that like, holy crap, a guy called me to drive. I'm not driving my dad's car. I'm driving for someone else for the first time. It was like 2013. And, maybe this is something that we can there's a dream we can chase here. I mean, not that I never thought that, but before it was always like, wow, I'm racing go-karts, like NASCAR's so cool. Now it's like, wow, I can try to make something out of this midget racing thing.
So is that the goal moving forward? Is that you want to stay in midgets, or are you down to grab anything?
I'm down to drive anything. You guys saw that. Like, I guarantee, granted, it was a midget, but it was a pavement wing midget at Waterford when I first met you guys in October. Like, currently, like last year, I raced. What did I race? I raced a Porsche at Watkins Glen, a go-kart at Poughkeepsie, Chili Bowl, Tulsa Shootout, micro sprints midgets, champ card at Stafford. I mean, I race anything and everything. But I say my true passion is midgets and sprint cars. Although I've never raced a sprint car, I'm dying to race one. I'd like to get into that, maybe like 350 Supers or something. I mean, shout out to Bobby with the 350 Supers.
I might know a guy that could let you try one out sometime. Before this interview, we knew you were coming on. I think we're Facebook friends, but we weren't Twitter or Instagram friends. So I for sure creeped on all your social media while I was at the gym today. Talk about the road racing car
from like 10 years ago. It was weird, dude.
Did I? I didn't mean to.
No, you didn't.
Talk about the road racing car. There was it the Endurance Series or whatever I saw. It was a blue and orange car. Talk about that deal. So
it's like Lemons, where it's a joke, but this is like a little more serious of cars, but serious road racing. It's like it's like Rolex racing, but affordable, and it's literally just kind of beater cars that have a performance bracket that they can fit in, and you race against those guys in like a 12-hour, 24-hour race. And we run annually Watkins Glen, Virginia International Raceway, and Thompson, the 12-hour. And I mean, it's just some of the most that I love road racing almost as much as I love dirt racing, because the car, if you have just a good car, the setup's 50-50. It's all driver. Like, there's no stagger, there's no air pressure adjustments, there's none of the little finite stuff like, oh, what roll bar are we going to run to help get the left front to to drop in mid center. Like, it's just get the car to the track and drive it. And it's just the most pure form of racing. That's what I just love.
That's why I tell everybody, I only got to road race once at Loudon in a legend car, but I tell everybody that races circle track to try road racing if you can, even if it's just once in the opportunity, because road racing is a blast. I agree.
And it just adds to your talent. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, I feel like understanding braking zones and hitting your apex and heel toe, it only makes you better at anything you do. Visualizing the corner a lot better as you go through. I think we're getting a little bit too technical here.
So did you do no like dirt racing last year except for the Chili Bowl? Well, I guess the Chili Bowl's this year, but like last year you raced the Chili Bowl as well, didn't you?
That was the predicament. Like 2020, so this whole kind of like weird run that brought me here, like skip forward to the beginning of my career, like I could probably get a little boring, but like 2019 I ran against Kenny Johnson, and his dad Jeff was like, I want you to run Chili Bowl. you're, to quote him, he was like, you've become better than what you were, blah, 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 blah. And he said, I want you at Chili Bowl. So we ran Chili Bowl together in 2020, and that got another ball rolling. COVID hit. I ran with Johnson after COVID hit. We ran at Rumtown Speedway. We won there in his car, in the national car. And then I took my car up, won 3 more times. And then I took my dirt car to Waterford, won a pavement race there. And that got this ball rolling to where car owners were calling my phone. And then I hate to admit this, I wrecked one of those guys' cars. So the calls kind of stopped coming for a little bit. So then that brought us to 2021 Chili Bowl, where I just had this ball of energy going. It was like, where am I next? We were racing a speedster in Delaware, the Tobias Speedster. Then I was racing one in New Jersey at Bridgeport. Then I was racing a TQ at Waterford. I will say that was probably insane. Would I do it again? Probably. But that was probably one of those that I look back and like, I don't really need to do that. Those cars don't really need to be there. But that got us to 2021 Chili Bowl, where I drove for Sam Johnson. And then my next race was for Mark Daly in March at indoors at DuQuoin. My next dirt race in a midget was last week. So it was 1 year pretty much between Chili Bowls that I ran dirt midget races, which is not an ideal situation by any means.
So looking ahead, what are some of the things that you have in store, and what are you trying to put together for the year coming up here?
For the year coming up, that is a good question. I wish I knew. Any car owner listening to this, show me what you got.
There's times.
I mean, I've just been trying to piece things together, honestly. Like I want to get into some sprint car stuff, like whether that's Pennsylvania or even if someone has a good Scone car or ESS. I want to keep in the midget thing. So unfortunately, Pennsylvania Midget Week with USAC, they're not coming back to Pennsylvania this year. But obviously, I look at some schedules, try to see who I can hop into where there's an open ride. But like confirmed right now, I got a go-kart ride at a couple indoor shows coming up in New York. And then we got some outdoor stuff with that. And then the team with the Porsche, they're building a BMW. So we're going to run the 24 hours of VIR and then the 12 hours of Thompson. We got that. But other than that, like my schedule's honestly pretty empty. Like it's usually with me, like I'll just be chilling on a Thursday and I'll look and see someone's like, oh, hey, I need a driver this week. Or like, I got an open car, who wants to fill it? Like buy some tires. I'm like, I'm in. It's usually last minute stuff with me. Not ideal, but
what a wild, that's just that's a wild concept to me. Like I feel like you're kind of on your own in that sense, where like most people obviously race weekly and they kind of get into the routine of just doing it every single week. And for you, just sitting around and just waiting for the phone to call or waiting for like a social post of someone needing a driver, that's just it's different. But hopefully you'll get some calls after your performance at the Chili Bowl this year, at least on social media, because
2021 Chili Bowl went about the same as this year. We won the F main and then finished 10th in the E. But like our potential and speed we showed this year was much better than what we showed in 2021. This year, like if I didn't, I guess might as well use it again. If I didn't step on my nuts in that heat race. So to those who don't, I really want to explain this to you guys. So like the way this whole Chili Bowl thing works, like you got your prelim night and you got 80 guys on your, let's say Friday night, my night, you got 80 guys. So that you have your heat races based off passing points. And it's compounding. So if I start second and finish first, that's more points than if I start fourth and finish third. So like they take your top 40 in passing points out of those 80 guys into 4A qualifiers, 10 cars each. Top 16 out of combined passing points from qualifiers and heats are locked into the show that night. If you didn't make a qualifier, you're in a C and a D main for your prelim. If you don't make the A from your qualifier, you fill out a B, and then they take 4 from each B main. I can see you're like, dude.
I was just going to say, I had to cheat my way through statistics and quantitative methods through college, so I have no idea what you're saying.
Trust me, for me, when I first saw it, I'm like, this is all bullshit. It doesn't matter. Then you understand it, and you're like, man, this could really, I can make my draw better, when in reality, you have no control over that by understanding it. But
so basically, you just have to know the formula, and then from there, as you're behind the wheel, you can kind of pay more attention to what you need to do to.
If you're like like me starting ninth in a heat, if you can like pass the guys that you need to pass and get to like fifth, And you'd be like, all right, like, do I need to throw this slider to get fourth place? Probably not, because I don't need to lose all these passing points. Because if, like me, I went 9th to 7th, but I was passing for 5th when I missed the bottom and let 2 guys by. So like 9th to 7th put me 4th in a C main on my prelim night, whereas 9th to 6th would have gotten me in an A qualifier opportunity to make my A if I pass more cars. So like me missing the bottom on that one lap put me put me that far back on my night. I don't want to say ruin my week, but it set me that much further back. Just that one spot.
I mean, I guess when you put it like that, it kind of does ruin your week, because we were already talking about how many cars show up to that event and how many actually make the A main, like the A main on fucking Saturday. And it's just like the percentage of you actually, yeah, incredibly low, like lower than any other race that at least
I go into this knowing that the odds of me finishing top 2 on a prelim night, I'm very optimistic and I believe in myself and my team, but I'm also realistic. Like you got to think, like if I can start in front of Christopher Bell, you're lined up there, you're thinking I can hold him off. Yeah. But if he's starting ahead of you, okay, can we really get him? I mean,
he's easy to beat.
Yeah. I mean, if he beats himself, I mean, go for it. It's all game. But, you got to be realistic at the same time and take what you can get. Like my teammate Carson Quapple, he had to make it through a B main and then finish 13th in his prelim night A. That put him in a C main on Saturday. Like if you can be dressed for opening ceremonies and then be in a C, B or A main on Saturday, boom, like nice, good job. You beat 350 guys.
Well, I mean, realistically though, you do the just quick math. There's what 300 and something, 400 something cars.
395 guys there this week.
Oh, you have 400 race cars there, of which the top 2 from every prelim night, which there's what 5 nights.
Yep.
10 cars. So 10 cars out of 400 are going to get locked in on the first 5 nights. Like I mean, the odds are astronomical to begin with, even if you are damn good at what you do. So
you have a 6% chance of making it.
Yeah.
6%.
And that's that's also not even equating the fact of like good cars, bad cars, weapons, highly talented people.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you guys watched 2021, but there was a guy in my heat, Anthony Esber. He got hired on the premise. He met a guy at a bar. They said, do you know what dirt racing is? He goes, never heard of it. Do you know who Kyle Larson is? Never heard of him. Do you know what the Chili Bowl is? Never heard of it. And they said, we're going to hire you. He went out there, took out Ricky Stenhouse, took out Justin Allgaier, and then he didn't have a Hans. He had one of those old style, like Doug Wolfgang, like the big pads. You remember those, like the Bush North guys wore them. And he I was watching. He wrecked and his head went like that, and then he was out cold. But he made an A qualifier, woke up, went back up for the A qualifier. But keep in mind, he wrecked it again. So you got like a guy who can wreck enough people without knowing what he's doing and make a qualifier. So like that's multiple points in one, probably a little more than I needed to explain. But like that's just one example of the squirrels. You got them, there was a guy who's 77 years old running there. So you got guys like him, like who probably don't even know where they are. And then you got 13-year-olds there this year. Granted, Ryan Timms is insanely talented. Brent Cruz is insanely talented. But you got a couple other 13-year-olds that you're like, this kid's 13. I didn't even start racing midgets till I was 15. And those were production motor cars, not full national midgets.
That is interesting the way that you kind of look at that though, because not only do you have all those squirrels like you're talking about too, but you also have the Kyle Larsons, you've got the Christopher Bells, you've got, I mean, there was what, three NASCAR Cup champions at the racetrack all week to begin with. Like that's just that's kind of wild anyway. So I mean, you have quite a range of talent, and I am sure equipment there as well too. So
talented drivers. There's talented women walking through the pit area. I gotta throw that out there. I mean, my girlfriend's gonna be pissed at me because she's listening to this. I guarantee it. But like, I mean, the pit lizards are half the fun at the Chili Bowl. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna bullshit you guys. Like, that's half the fun there. Like, you're looking around. We pulled a joke one year, and the strippers from the Lipstick Cabaret, they have a thing called, I did not know this, legs and eggs. So they serve breakfast at a strip club.
No thanks.
So I'm going to the Chili Bowl next year. My family's going on. Well, no, before you said that, my family and I we're planning on a family vacation. They all want to go to the Chili Bowl. Fuck it, sounds good to me. Based off what I've learned from this interview with you, Jeff, I'm bringing my fire suit for 2 reasons. One, to cut the bathroom line, and 2, to get laid. Other than that, I don't plan on driving any race cars, but if you see me walking around in my fire suit, mind your own fucking business.
Exactly.
I'm super glad I'm super glad I kept my fire suit. I went like absolutely buried, but I'm gonna be also wandering around with a fire suit on.
I forgot where we were when I went on this tangent of the prelim night order, but like I don't even know where we were. But
that's the point of the show.
That's what was I just saying? Oh, the strippers come around with discount cards for free entry, and it's like a half off your first lap dance. I mean, it's like holy shit. And they came around one year and we told them I was gay just to see what they would say. And they go, "Hey honey, how's it going?" I'm like, "I'm gay." And she goes, "Don't worry, I'll still sit on your lap, half off." I'm like, God damn, she is desperate. I'm like,
I can imagine that this is the one week that they make money.
I mean, you got a lot of lonely guys there, a lot of single dudes who are old, who've been racing midgets their whole lives, lost their woman because of it. So now here they are in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm not making the Chili Bowl look too good, but man, it's a blast.
That sounds fucking awesome, man.
I mean, it is a dude's best. It is like a wet dream being a Chili Bowl.
Couple lonely dudes, we're gonna fit right in. I can't.
Oh yeah, that is right up my alley. Lost their girl because of their race car. Yep. You're speaking my language.
I mean,
man.
as long as if Mark Daly, if you're listening to this, as long as if you end up firing me, which I hope you don't, I'll put another car together. You guys can be my crew. We'll go out there and we'll have legs and eggs. But we got to hope Mark doesn't fire me first. I mean, you know.
I feel like Bobby could make us a couple midgets real quick. Like we just got to get the $1 million for the couple motors. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, the motors are what? I mean, 60 each.
Yeah, give or take. I feel like the car is the easy part.
Honestly,
built 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah,
dude, I built that car myself. I mean, Mark Daly did the plumbing and the wrap, but the rest of it, like I made it a roller, did all that stuff by myself. And side note, if you told me I could spend $400 and make the D main from the E or from the F, I'd say sure. But if you said to me in August, $400 buy new spindles, I'd say I don't need spindles. And then my left front beats me down the backstretch. I'm like, I should have bought those new spindles.
I believe that's called Karma.
Pretty much. I had those spindles for, I'm not going to say how many years, but I had them for a couple of years. I'm like, it's only like 30 laps of Chili Bowl. It'll survive. And then I'm beating the shit out of the bottom all week, just catfishing. And coming out of 2 in the E-main, just across my nose goes my left front. I'm like, huh.
I remember, so for me, I remember one of the lamest things that's ever happened to me at a racetrack. I'm at Lee USA Speedway Oktoberfest. And, we have done, it's a 3-day show. You do all the practices and all the horse shit. And you're there and you get up first thing, qualifying day, and you go out for your couple practices. I go out there, I start scrubbing the tires. Haven't even taken the green yet, thank God. When I'm coming off of 4, I scrub the tires, and the left front spindle just breaks. Like the tire goes through the fender. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That's so cool. Because my car, it's got all the like fancy built spindles. Literally, I own the only set that fucking exists. And there was like one sister car to mine, not close to the racetrack, and I'm making phone calls and this, that, the other thing. I'm like, I haven't even raced yet. It was fucking, that was the dumbest thing that's ever happened.
Is this the first race with that car?
No, I had it for a long time, but it just, one of those weird freak things that never happens. I go out and I started scrubbing the tires, and the pin broke on the left front spindle.
Oh, random thought that came out of orbit. Bobby, you may remember me from when I was helping Nedishin at Oswego Classic.
Yeah, and he fucking wrecked me.
Yeah. Well, you came over to Mike and you said, Mike, I'm not mad. Because Mike, literally, Mike's going to listen to this too. Mike literally had a line of people ready to beat his ass. And I'm like, all right, guys, one at a time. Literally, dude, I remember he came out of 2, 4 on. Were you guys at Oswego Classic?
No.
Well, you were Bobby, but like, you remember what that race took? What, 2 hours 40 minutes?
Yeah, and I don't remember if I talked about it on here or not. It was an absolute clusterfuck. Right from it rained, it this and that and whatever. So to make a short story long,
We were
I
8
was
laps
racing with
in, and we had a fuel stop 8 laps in for fuel.
yeah, we had 3 red flags. I did talk about it on this show previously. It was the same 3 dudes. We're in fucking 4 wrecks, and it's like, oh my god, dude, like call it a fucking day. Like I get it, you're nice dudes, but shit, man. And my car was a bag of smashed assholes. I didn't even want to race the thing. And my dad's like, we've been out here for 4 fucking days. You're not quitting on us now. So my main objective going into the race was just put this bitch back in the box the way we brought it. And I absolutely fucking killed everything from the motor forward on it because it was Mike's fault. It was 100% Mike's fault. He run right over my right front.
Right?
We were wheel to wheel at the flag stand, and we went into the one turn. There was dust from Speedy Dry. My visor was fogged over from the Speedy Dry, and the sun was setting. I couldn't see. When he came back into vision, my right front was on his fucking carburetor. I spun, hit the inside hub rail, got waylaid by 4 dudes. I look in my peripheral. Kyle Perry's flipping through the air. There's styrofoam everywhere. My car's fucking killed. And I was like, you know what? That's how this weekend needed to end. I wasn't even mad. Don't even care. I've been friends with Mike forever. Fuck it. I'll get him back eventually. Certainly didn't want to go down there. Certainly didn't want to go down there and fight about it.
Kick his ass.
And I didn't even care. I didn't even want to fight. Like, I was pissed, but it was a reserved pissed, I guess. Well, they clean up the mess. They get the dead bodies off the racetrack, fire back up, and he goes and does the same exact fucking thing to my team car, Ben Tinker, down in the 3 turn, and Ben buries it in the styrofoam. And Ben wanted to fight. And Ben wanted to fight you, and he wanted to fight Mike's brother, and he wanted to fight Mike's dad, and he certainly wanted to fight Mike. And I just was going over there to just diffuse the situation. And Mike sees me. He's as red as a snap-on box. Starts screaming at me like,
dude, like Mike's like
Mike.
He's tall compared to me, and I'm like on his back, like chill out, bro. Chill. I'm like patting his head, like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. I'm like, Mike, I don't even
do this, and he's like, we're doing this, and his dad's got like a hammer. I'm like, hey, we don't need to do this. I want to party tonight. I want to get drunk. We don't need to get kicked out before I get drunk.
I get to Mike, and he's fucking screaming at me. I go, Mike, I'm not mad. Just I'm tired of listening to you. I'm tired of listening to your dad. I'm tired of listening to everybody holler. Just shut the fuck up and leave Ben alone. Because if you and Ben get in a fight and he's outnumbered, I'm coming over here and I'm going to even the numbers up. So just fucking walk away. And the officials came over and another crew came over, and that was pretty much the end of it. But yeah, no, Oswego, it was so much fun. I'm not going back there this year.
That was literally my first ever time to Oswego. And like the previous night, I was helping Mike out with the mid. This is how good of a friend I am. Mike's like, I want to run Oswego in a midget. I go, pay for my fuel to bring Randy Cabral's midget out so you can run it. And I hooked up his deal. So he rented that car from Randy. I brought it out. He paid almost my full fuel bill, not my full fuel bill. Gotta throw some shade at Mike. No, I like Mike. He's a good guy, but I just had to throw that at him. So we did that. And then that next day, I'm like, screw it, I'll stay over, help him out. And then his dad was literally like at that 70-year-old, what's his dad's name? Mike, right? Or Tom.
Tom's his brother.
Tom. I think his dad is also Mike. They're with like a hammer, ready to, dead blow a guy in the head. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, whoa. Mike did. He drove like a madman in a bad way and a good way. He drove back through the pack with that car was. He beat his car up. I was like looking at it under the red, and I'm like, okay, wing, axle, rim, wing.
Yeah, it wasn't my idea of fun. Probably wasn't his idea of fun either. But you drove a midget that weekend too, didn't you?
Oh, that's right, I did. So Tim Bertrand, President Nima, came over to me and said, hey, go be a field filler in Randy Cabral's car. And I'm like, free laps on Oswego, screw it. So I just hop in the car, and we literally just made like 5 or 6. I did cause some drama. I don't know if I should say this because I'm gonna edit it.
Well, for whatever it's worth, we have like a minute left.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man, we didn't even get into the good stuff.
Well,
you know what? Well, I'll save that. I won't even say it. I'm not getting fired.
See, that's perfect. So we have about a minute left, man. This has been awesome. I think a lot of people are going to know more about you now than they did before. But the last question I have for you, like I have for everybody else, what is it that brings Jeff Champagne to the racetrack every week?
I just want to win, and I just want to be the best there is, no matter what it is I'm racing. I just, a lot of people think I just do this to be in front of the camera, and it's a bonus, but like, I just want to win. I just want to do good and make a living out of going in circles.
Well, I think that that's the answer for a lot of us. So, no, it's been real, man. We appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. I'm sure it won't be the last time, but
We're gonna have to do this again.
absolutely, man. So, appreciate it, and we'll see you again.
All right, dude. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Race car. Here we go, race car.